I'm Chef Angie.
I'm Chef Tony.
And I'm Chef Naya.
And we are
Bound by Fire.
So, ladies, dig in. And before Chef Tony put anything in your mouth, I want to know, would you kindly tell us about yourself?
Sure.
What are you up to?
So at the moment right now, I'm just working on a pilot lunch program at a private members club in Center City down in Rittenhouse. It's known as the Cosmopolitan Club. It's a old women's club. They love lunch. They love fish. They love
Ladies who
vegetables.
lunch.
Ladies who lunch. They love fish. They love vegetables, which is all the things I love cooking. But a little bit about me is I got started cooking in high school, and I know you guys will talk about that a little later, but I went to a CTE high school, and I started cooking there. From there, I entered the CCAP program, which is the Careers Through Culinary Arts program. Went through a cooking competition, received 2 scholarships from CCAP. One was a cash scholarship. The other was a full tuition scholarship to Drexel University, where I graduated with a bachelor's in food science. And now I currently work as a private chef. So far, I've done James Beard Fellowship, residency at Voltaire. Now I got my Bound by Fire.
You've done a lot, girl.
I also work for CCAP too. Also being an alumni and working as the program coordinator, working with high school students, kind of having full circle moments every day that I go to work, which I really enjoy.
What is CCAP? What's CCAP stand for?
So CCAP is Careers Through Culinary Arts program. Mm-hmm. It is a nonprofit program. It's across 6 cities across the country. So we're in Philadelphia, New York, D.C., L.A., Arizona, and Chicago.
I'm scared of you.
But I work here in the Philadelphia chapter. Our headquarters is in New York City. And what we basically do is we help students get mentorships, scholarships, apprenticeships, jobs. We help them just get one step closer to the career of being a chef, being in hospitality, any way that we can help them, succeed. And the best thing about CCAP, I want to say, is that they follow you after graduation. Mm-hmm. So I think that that's the biggest and most important thing about being a part of CCAP, because they are there once you're out of high school. So what about you, Chef Naya?
Hey, y'all. My name's Chef Naya. I am currently living in Philadelphia. I was born here, but I grew up in Mississippi. Started cooking when I got to college. I've been cooking all my life, but really just cooking because I was homesick. Cooking Southern foods, and we can get into what that really is later. And just really cooked my way into cooking. My bachelor's degree, I'm also a dragon. So I was going to go to law school, and then, life happened, and I cooked my way into cooking. And like I said, it was a way for me to exercise the memory of missing home while being away from home. So that's another thing that I like to do. I've had the pleasure and honor of being a Pew Fellow, being a food researcher and head chef for the Philadelphia Assembled Cafe. That was a 3-year immersive art project in Philadelphia, sponsored by the Philadelphia Art Museum. And I was working with up to 12 different culinary artists, and we transformed our cafe. We had 3 different themes of like victory, resistance, and joy. This was here in Philadelphia in 2018 at the Museum of Fine Arts.
I love how you said that you cooked your way into cooking.
Yeah, it was really just something that, I guess when we start talking about this, like, what does it mean to be a chef? What professionalizes you? I really just cared about food and food as memory, and that's what I've brought to my research projects, from understanding, trying to discover Philadelphia's first iconic food, pepper pot, and this is way before.
Here we go with the pepper pot.
But this is what I love about it is it predates.
Here we go with the pepper pot.
It predates the hoagie. It predates the cheesesteak, and it's
really more
than
Philly food than hoagies and cheesesteak.
Exactly, but also I love the idea of food as a way to access memory, because when I was a kid, all the important conversations happened in the kitchen. So to me, to self-actualize and professionalize myself as a chef, where so many women in my family we're cooking in other people's kitchens
Right.
for other people's families.
Like most black families.
Yeah, being domestics. And so it's a real honor for me to step into this role and, just keep developing this. And now, as Chef Tony would say, we're bound by fire.
Bound by fire.
So, Chef Angie, can you give us your pedigree, the rundown?
Well, I have many. So, I was a buyer for a fur company here in Philadelphia back in the day. You all weren't even born, I don't think.
Not a glimmer in my father's eye, as they would say.
maybe a glimmer. I also lived in California for 10 years. And while I was out there, I got asked to do a behind the stage for Natalie Cole to do her rider because the person that was supposed to do didn't show up. So my boyfriend at the time was...
You mean this will be Natalie Cole?
Yes, the Natalie Cole.
Of Nat King Cole's glimmer in his eye?
Uh-huh. And so I did that, and that gave me a little like, wow, this is interesting. So from there, that gave me the bug. So when I came back to Philadelphia, I got married. So first I was a wife, a mother. I went to culinary school. And that was 1987. I went to culinary school. Don't give me that look.
I didn't give you no look. I mean, with your generation.
We're 3 generations here, 25 and 30, what?
37.
37. So anyway,
What's the third generation? You said 25, 30, 37?
I'm not saying. I'm in my 60s.
Oh,
Actually, there is a such thing as industry ages. So, some would say it's not wise we could just say blank 20s, 30s.
we can say blank too.
Yeah, whatever, dog.
Listen, so anyway, so I did that, went to culinary school, graduated, did the whole bit. Yeah, I have a long career, done a lot of things. Jessica Harris was my mentor when I opened my first restaurant, 1995. Jessica Harris was my first book in the cook author in 1995. And let me just say this, I did not know her. I got in touch with her. I asked her, would she come to Philadelphia?
Was it through snail mail? Or
No.
you gave her a buzz on the phone?
No, I can't remember how I did it,
Right
but
on.
I did it.
Yeah, 'cause
Nice.
they had Instagram, like they didn't have social media. How you can just
So
like.
you ain't just
No,
jump
I
into
must
the DMs?
I must have called her.
Yeah.
Yeah, and anyway, she came. So that was 1995. That's when I first met her in person. And she's been my big sister ever since.
Nice.
And as a matter of fact, June 2nd, we're going to Martha's Vineyard because Jessica put me in the limelight again, and I'm on the panel at the Martha's Vineyard Museum speaking about food and where it's going and the culture.
Congratulations, Angie.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
So when you speak about food culture, what do you see? And like you've been around. I don't want to say like you've been around forever, but like you've seen a lot of transitions in this industry. So
I have. And I have to say to you that when I was in culinary school and I did my senior project, right? I did it on Creole food. And that was 1986, right? 87, I'm sorry, 87. And I have not swayed from that. I have always been cooking Creole food. As a matter of fact, I wanted to get into the word chef with you guys so I could tell you the story about being a chef and what it means to me. But as far as my journey and my career, I've always been steadfast in Southern food. That has not swayed or varied. You know what I mean? I've stuck in there with learning and creating, and really all my restaurants were Creole restaurants.
I want to
Southern
ask you a
food.
question.
Mm-hmm.
Did you stick with Southern food because you're black, or is that really like your background of cooking and eating and growing up with that?
Well, it's both. I grew up in a Southern household, all both sides of my family are from the South. On my mother's side, my grandmother, my great-grandmother, and her mother were all domestics. And I learned from my mother and my grandmother and my great-grandmother how to cook. And these women could cook. And primarily, they cooked for Jewish families. So we had a little bit of, like, on Saturdays, we would have, what's the fish that we always talk about? Shad. Shad roe. Shad roe and grits and, so my background is Southern. I'm not going to say it's anything
regional
but Southern.
Because you grew up north, but they came from the South. So they're
They all
coming from
came
a Southern perspective.
Right.
So that's
Exactly.
because I was about to say catfish. I was like, because I had never heard of shad until I got up here.
Yeah.
And I've had the opportunity to eat shad. I think it's fallen out of favor just because of so many bones that are in it, but it's delicious. It's so good. I wish I had a chance
Well,
to
the
taste
roe is even better. And
Yeah, I love fish roe.
It's delicious. But so I've had a long career, and the fact that I'm teaching now and I'm teaching high school, I thought that when I got this job, I thought, okay, this is going to be something else for my resume, right? And I'm going to love this because I'm a teacher at heart. I'm a teacher. But it has been a challenge. It's made me stronger. It's made me smarter. But I realized that I'm okay with not doing this anymore.
Fuck them kids.
As who said?
Michael Jordan.
Right. So
He ain't had to dunk on them kids like that.
no, but it's the truth.
Call me Mike. The chef. The chef.
So
He from the South.
okay. So how do we feel about that word chef? I poured you all some Topo Chico, that water. Try it. It's so delicious.
yeah, the natural mineral water.
Yes, please, girls.
have
Take a
some in
sip.
my
Take a sip. And the champagne, how are we liking the shit? Oh, I see that you just threw that champagne back.
The champagne, I need a refill.
Terrible. That's
Can
why
I get a refill? Woo.
All right, let's get into it.
Okay, listen. The word chef. Dun, dun, dun.
Well, I think that the word chef means, it encompasses a lot. But chef is a manager. If you're a chef, you have to know how to manage people.
Yes. It ain't got nothing to do with cooking. To a certain extent.
A chef has to manage folks.
People and resources.
So it's not just about cooking. It's about managing, numbers, accounting, food cost, everything.
Food costs, labor, what you gonna do
Yeah,
when somebody
so-
call
so
out,
these-
what you gonna do when
so
somebody
these
get hurt.
So these chefs that are out here now, that are talking about, I'm a chef, I'm this, I'm that, all they do is cook. But do they manage? Can they manage 500 people?
I'm not even gonna lie, I don't even think they cook.
Oh, shit. The shade.
Well, I mean, 'cause
I don't
like
even think
I
they
would
cook.
say just like you. I'm now teaching high school as well, teaching culinary arts, and that's how we both encountered the wondrous, amazing Philly John that is Chef Tony extraordinaire with 2 eyes, gang, 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 gang. But
Here's some Béarnaise sauce, guys, if you
Oh.
want some. I forgot to tell you.
obviously, but I find myself, when I first started teaching culinary, I was like, oh, well, I'm just gonna be doing like some low-key home ec shit, right? Mm-hmm. But then like a week into it, I'm realizing I'm managing this industrial sized kitchen with like 50 employees who are students,
Right.
who are cleaning things with a lick and a promise, whose hormones are raging, much like a commercial kitchen,
Much like hip hip.
Hooray!
and it is very challenging. It is exhausting. It is rewarding. And unlike those maniacs who find themselves in the kitchens that I've worked in, these kids are there because they're bound by truancy laws. You know what I mean?
I want to say something because when I tell people that, I started cooking in high school and They're like, oh, you were in like home ec, and I'm like, no,
Yeah,
like
it's
it's
different.
not what you
Yeah.
think it is, and that's why I think like when we go back to the word chef, and I know we had a lot of side conversations about this word. I've been cooking professionally since I was 14 years old because I've been doing it in high school. I was able to get internships. I was able to get, all of these steps closer to becoming a chef. So I'm really happy as like teachers who are teaching CTE programs in high school that you're saying like you went in there underestimating it, and it came out was like, whoa, this is the real world for these kids. So I love that, and I'm so happy.
And that's what I do. I don't just take it as, I was like, yeah, this isn't home ec. Like, we grinding.
Yeah.
I'm like, bruh.
We got orders.
I'm like, bruh, I need y'all to wear your aprons, put on your hair nets, the claw. I was like, nobody's trying to call your mom and tell them that you done missing one of them little digits, okay? And just, because sometimes I struggle with the word chef. When I walk around the building and the kids and they're like, chef, chef, chef. And I'm like, well, to me, I'm not running a restaurant, right? Like Angie has said before, I'm not one of those guys with the toque. The 2K that demonstrates all the folds and the way in which I can prepare an egg expertly.
That's right.
But a lot of what I do, I end up managing resources and kids and time and teaching theory. I teach a lot of theory.
And that is what a chef is.
Yeah.
A chef isn't just someone who
And
cooks.
teaching how to delegate so my students learn how to prepare, because they always come in, chef, what you gonna make me? You gonna make some more dirty rice? You gonna make some of this? What about that thing that you did with that okra that I never saw before? And I'm like, no, it's for you to prepare. I'm like, you make me a dish.
But what grade is this? 11th?
I would teach 10th, 11th, and 12th. They're with me all 3 years.
And I love how both of your jobs are structured different because you get all of the ages. Like you get 10th graders, you get 11th graders, you get 12th graders. Mm-hmm. And Angie over here, she gets just 10th graders.
Yeah.
She don't spend time with those kids. And I think you have a really important job.
I do.
Because you got to set them up.
I set them up.
set the bar.
I set the bar. And so that's why I say theory is very important. Because if they don't have the base, if they don't have the culinary terms, if they don't know what mise en place is, I mean, that's
the most important.
It's the most important word. Mise en place.
I know somebody who knows, who've been in circles with people who call themselves chefs and world-renowned chefs, and they were caught out there slipping.
Listen, I worked.
My 10th graders were like,
I probably called them.
my 10th graders were like, yo, mise en place. And they was like, pardon? Come again?
Why y'all using these big words?
Well,
No, not you.
I was like, pardon, nigga? Anyway, but yeah. And so I think a chef needs to be able to understand what they don't know and then learn what they need to know as well. And to always be on a journey for learning and not be intimidated by something new.
But you're learning every day as a chef. I learn something every day, whether it's from a student, whether it's from you guys, whether it's from TV, a book. I learn.
I'll never forget. When I was on set with Marco Pierre White, we were doing a challenge and he was making a rabbit, right? Mm-hmm. And he put this rabbit in water with a couple of carrots, boiled it up, maybe some
Knorr cubes.
No, he didn't do Knorr cubes.
He got a sponsorship.
That was before that.
I'm being shady.
That was before that commercial.
Don't
right?
come for me, Marco.
No. So he had this thing about me because I was like the oldest person in my group, right? With the longest career. I should say I was the one with the most chef career.
Can you give us a background of what you're talking about?
So I'm talking about this show that I did called The Chopping Block on NBC.
It was a UK-based show, correct?
It was a UK-based show filmed in New York, shown in Europe and the States. And it was ridiculous. That's all I have to say. Sometimes I have nightmares over it. I wake up in the middle and like, did I do that? Did I do that? And then, as my daughter said, Mom, you do realize you were the first black female chef on national TV in a competition show. So anyway, so Marco's making this rabbit, and we're in this fast challenge, and we're in this kitchen at Serafina's in New York, right? And he's making this rabbit, and it cooks up, and he looks straight at me, and he says, "Come taste it." Well, one, I don't like rabbit, and I don't like it cooked in water, with some thrown in carrots and maybe a couple little nigga glitter.
I hate that shit. I hate when white people do that shit.
With a little nigga glitter.
And even a little chicken stock. My man ain't put a little.
Well, I guess the
little
rabbit
razzle dazzle on there.
I guess the rabbit was supposed to be the stock. Anywho, he calls me up and asks me to take a spoonful. And
Angie, come taste.
Angie.
Angela.
No, he called me Angie. So I go up and he takes the spoon and he dips it in and he hands it over to me. And I take a swig, and I look at him, and he says, "Do you like it?" And I said, "No." Well, that was it.
Ballsy then.
Yeah, right. Right. No, he didn't like the fact that I said I didn't like his rabbit.
I'm happy you said no.
I didn't
You
like
ain't need
it.
a lot of that, man.
So I say this all to say that even a 3-star Michelin chef's, his ego was so big that the fact that this little person didn't like his rabbit, he was undone.
Oh yeah. Oh no.
Well, he was undone.
Let's just be real. Look, we all have experienced that.
Oh, we have.
Some more recently than others.
Yes. What? With
That,
your
like-
celebrity chef?
No, just saying that, I could see why his ego was bruised. Like, you make something, even if it was trash to begin with.
But I know when I make something trash. Like, I'm not even going to sit here and say that.
No, but see, the thing was with him, his palate is different. He's a white guy from England who's.
But his mama Italian, so.
Yeah, but
That don't mean nothing.
Yeah, that don't mean nothing. He was a little boy when his mama went, so
Yeah.
and
No,
that's,
I just
that's
thought
another story.
they got a little sazon. A little.
No, that still don't mean nothing
Little
because
oomph.
my palate, you from the South.
Yeah.
Our palates are totally
Correct.
different.
Yeah. Depending on what it is, but
Depending
yeah.
on what it is.
Yeah.
It's totally different.
Yeah.
Like, we were talking about how Southern food is so different
From soul food.
from soul food, and a lot of people like to mix that up. Oh, this is this is soul.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That's not Southern.
Which it's not a dig. Like, to me, I look at soul food as migration food. It's the story of migration. It's the story of like
history. Here we go.
yeah. The more you know.
But it is the story.
Yeah, I think soul food is migration food.
Soul or
it's
Southern?
soul food.
Oh, okay.
So why do you
stems-
think? But why do you think the Caucasian race,
Oh,
Who,
here
white
we go.
people?
Caucasian race,
From the
is
Caucasus
so
Mountains.
into our food now? Like all of a sudden, they can't get enough of it.
I don't
they
think it's all
cannot
of a
get
sudden.
enough.
I don't think it's all of a sudden.
But it's not all of a sudden. But it's more. It's so saturated now. It's like leave us alone.
Because you don't have American food without what
Could you hand me
your mentor.
could you hand me one of those knives, those the spreaders?
Okay.
Right there.
You get a joint on the cheese.
Thank you.
It's because of what your mentor Jessica B. Harris says in her book
What
High
does
on
she
the
say?
Hog.
What does she
that
say?
you don't have American food without the
No,
African
that
hand
ain't
in the
why
pot.
it is. No, that's not why it is. No, that's not why it is. I'm gonna tell you.
Also they were reared by black people.
Can y'all stop giving
they-
y'all give white people so much grace?
I'm not giving them grace. I think that is a natural thing for a large majority of them.
Okay.
That American food is black food. That American music
Everything
is black
America
music.
is black.
That's true.
That's what I'm saying.
And I get that, but I also think it comes from them trying to cop somebody's style. I think it's them
Well,
trying to
of course.
open doors for people. I think it's them Like, if I think white people, specifically white chefs, if they let one black person in the door, they've done it for all of us.
Oh, yeah.
They know everything about black
Hallelujah.
food. They know everything about soul food.
There you go.
So I think that's why they're so into it, because they're so cultured and they're so educated on things. It makes them more aware of things. So I think that's why they're really all into it. Yeah,
I
let's
think
get
that
it. We
is
the
the-
blueprint. Don't get me wrong, we the blueprint, but like we already know that. So let's say what the real is.
What's the
They-
real?
They need to find something new. They not doing French food.
So
no
now-
more.
so-
they need to dig up something new, which is black
but then,
food.
no.
And then they're gonna
Now
dig up something
they're
new.
off to Asian food now.
Oh,
they're on to Asians.
Well, let me get there.
Okay,
I was
get
on
there.
that road.
Get
I was
there,
on
my
that hill,
sister.
because you
okay?
know, once I get off,
because they have left us,
Once-
and now they're on to the Asian.
once I get off that
culture.
road, I don't detour.
They're on to any place, any genre of food that has flavor. And let's just be honest, like your boy Marco Pierre White. Come on. We all learned in 1492, Christopher Columbus sailed the fucking ocean blue. And what was he out there for? Herbs and spices, all right? And then guess what? The gag is white people refuse to use them, okay?
Right.
Okay, for real, doesn't even matter. They gonna take whatever good shit you got over here. They grew up on a rock garden.
That's because they don't have nothing.
Exactly. That's just what it is.
They ain't got nothing.
Like, I don't even think the conspiracy theory is as conspiratorial as most people. Like, I don't even consider.
I'm not saying. Listen, I'm not saying it's a conspiracy.
No,
but
I'm
but it's all about the come up.
Let me tell you something.
It's the come up.
Black people popping right now, Asians popping right now. They gonna hop on that wave so they can stay relevant.
That's right. That's right.
It's constantly what they do. Don't get me
I'm not
started.
saying that's
don't
not
get
what
me
they don't
started.
do.
No, I'm saying.
But also,
I agree.
For instance, let me talk about the James Beard Foundation specifically.
Okay.
Let me talk about them specifically.
T
Once
alert.
the pandemic hit,
What'd you say?
and the whole
T alert. Sorry. Go ahead.
once the whole, like, when the pandemic was going on and the whole George Floyd thing happened,
Yeah.
first of all, everybody in the world told on themselves, aka all the white people. You know what I mean? But the James Beard Foundation specifically knocked every white man out. They knocked every white man out that was ever associated with that joint. Black people, Asian people, Hispanic, they start bringing them all in, and it's just weird to me. That's weird to me, because y'all, then it goes back to our conversation talking about a chef. Y'all got these people who record themselves reels on Instagram cooking. Y'all got them down with the James Beard Foundation.
I
And then you got a
can't
chef like
understand it.
Ange over here who's been doing it for umpteen years,
Years.
who's really good at it,
Yeah.
but she's blocked.
Right.
Because y'all
Or not getting the recognition
because-
that she deserves.
and that's
correct.
because white folks don't know the lane of where I can't even say it.
Well,
Y'all know I can't talk
it's-
without.
No. When they're in search of authenticity, first of all, to even be in that,
They go to the
whole
first black
perspective-
thing.
Yeah, and that means that all you were trying to do was fill a quota, right? That's why I can't stand the word diversity and or
don't
the
say
phrase
that around
diversity and inclusion.
Just like don't say the word
Because,
urban
like,
around me.
Because it's like it's code speak for can we pick a nigga real quick? Whether it's a black nigga,
Oh my God.
one of our
Oh my God.
Mexican niggas, or one of my Asian niggas, or whoever. It's like they gonna
I don't
pick
think we
somebody
should-
just to satisfy.
Hold on now,
I
real
am a
quick.
Ladam.
Hold on now.
I
real
am a
quick.
Ladam Escoffier.
Correct.
Hold on now, real quick. I don't want you to be given the honor to people that are Mexican and Asian, the honor of being called a nigger.
What?
Well, I was saying it from the perspective. I was
don't get
saying
that.
it from the perspective of because they're not looking at us. They're otherizing all of us.
I think white people fucked the word up when it came to the whole chef thing, because they start allowing people to come into these circles that are not chefs.
Right.
And they start giving them too many accolades.
That's right.
Because they hopped on the next best black thing.
That's
they
right.
hopped on the next best Asian thing. They hopped on the next best Mexican thing. They hopped on all of these things that they thought were the best, and they gave it too much grace.
And they raised the price of the wings.
And oxtails.
Make oxtails cheap again. But like here, but you know, on some real type time though, I think I get it.
And short ribs.
I understand what you're talking about, but I also would say the influence of like social media and reality TV. Like, let's just be real. When I was in school, and I'm so much older than you, Tony.
I can tell. Look at that grade.
I know. Look at these grades, honey.
Okay,
you
keep
know.
it-
But
keep it
anyway, on some real type time, like you did not have like reality TV shows were like Anna Nicole Smith, Real World. and
That was
stuff.
the shit.
Yo, that was my joint. Anna.
But I think,
Yeah.
what's her name? Tiffany Pollard. She made reality TV.
Listen,
Zban.
But every kid that I talk to now is like, I want to be a chef. I want to be a chef. I want to be a chef. They end up in my CTE program.
Listen.
They be like, this too much work. We came to eat.
We can't eat.
But let's talk about what we were talking about before about the students who come to school hungry. It's poverty that's, to me, that's like the bottom line of these kids that come to our programs.
I disagree.
I wouldn't say it's 100% poverty.
I don't. Yeah.
Listen, in my school, it's poverty. I don't know about your school. I
In my
can't speak for your school.
Culinary
In my
gives
school,
the
it's-
razzle dazzle.
Listen, culinary gets the razzle dazzle in my program also. But I also know that if these kids are mining their siblings because their mom and dads are working or their mom doesn't come home, when they come to school, they are
Hungry.
they're hungry and that's this school is their playground because they don't get to be a kid at home.
I completely.
Do you know what I'm saying?
No.
My dad grew up like that.
I concur. There are kids that if they don't come to school, they don't eat.
They don't eat. So my kids
Whether
are
it's
my
culinary
students
or lunch.
are always hungry.
Yeah.
They're lazy
But Angie, you
and
feed
hungry.
them all that. Let's be honest.
What?
Also, they're
Because-
teenagers. Their
No,
brains
but
and
also
their
when I
bodies
was
growing
no.
like they're weird. They're not nice people. Teenagers are not.
Speaking
nice
from a
people.
student, speaking from someone
They're
who
just not.
grew up in the CTE
I used to
Culinary
be
Arts
one.
program in the Philadelphia School District, I think like y'all need to be more stern on them kids. Like, no, you're not eating. Today you're working. Today the restaurant is open. You're on dishes today. Today this is going on. You're serving today. Go take orders. Like, I don't care if you hungry.
I shut my cafe down because this little girl was stealing snacks. It wasn't because she hungry.
Case in point.
No,
Case in point. Hungry. These
No.
kids are hungry.
This motherfucker had been eating all damn day. She was supposed to be serving people. Anyway, we ain't gonna get into it.
I would say a 70-30.
Listen, this is the thing. We, as chefs and women, didn't grow up like that. We didn't grow up hungry. So you don't know what hungry looks like. Sorry.
How you know we ain't grew up like that?
Bitch, did you grow up like that?
Sometimes.
Okay. Did you? So then you know what I'm talking about. So when that little girl's grabbing them snacks, because she's not had snacks.
No, because she big as shit trying to be
I'm
greedy.
telling you,
You know what?
This little heifer came to school with snacks, gave me snacks.
Cut that out. That big as shit trying to be greedy.
Yeah. No, I'm telling you, I know my kids. I've had this kid. This is when I see that kid next year, they're going to be a senior. I'm not being facetious when I say
And I know the kid that she's talking about. I can agree 100%.
Yo, yes. I'm just saying, I understand, but I don't want us to get, I think as educators in an urban environment or a black, or you know what, look,
You don't say that.
they have conditioned my conditioning system.
Unconditioning.
Okay.
Unconditioning.
Back it up, because how we started this was I want to know how you feel about impostoring chef.
But I think it's happening in the whole thing, the whole milieu of it all.
Well, in Philadelphia, we have how many imposters do you know? I know about 20. How many you know?
Half of my Instagram.
And are getting play. They're on the cover of this. They getting that. They getting this. And I have had their food, and I'm like,
Can I just tell y'all a secret about being a chef?
well,
They buy the story. They don't buy the food.
You know what someone told me the other day? They said, well, they want a sob story. And I was like,
They don't want a sob story. They want a story.
right.
they said the sob story pays more.
No, that's not true.
Well, the sob story is the poor black story.
Oh, you ain't getting that shit. The story you're gonna get from me that I've been telling for a long time. I wasn't poor and black. I just didn't have the resources like everybody else.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Or
y'all ain't gonna get no poor black shit because I wasn't poor and black. I mean, my family they was alright. They was living cool, but we just didn't have resources.
I can dig it. Talk about tilapia and why black folks are still eating tilapia. It is a man-made fish. It's nasty farmed. I don't understand it. I don't get it.
When I was a young boy, we used to eat tilapia because that's when tilapia was popular and hot.
It's still popular and hot.
I don't know.
Yes, it is.
I didn't know that.
People are still eating that shit.
But
People eat it because it's not a challenging fish. and it's cheap. It's affordable.
But like what you said, like my
and it doesn't have that
fingers,
many bones. Sorry.
I don't think it got bones at all.
It don't have bones because it's man-made.
I've
Don't
gotten
even
fresh
have a
tilapia.
backbone.
Yes, it does. It's
They got
not
fresh tilapia?
Yes.
Where?
Yes.
Where? I'm
my
not
God.
even being smart at this moment. Like I'm dead serious.
Like
Where?
No,
go to
you need to
H-Mart.
clarify that
I
shit.
swear to God, you go to H Mart. You can go.
Oh my God,
to-
they're making them in the
It's
back.
No. Whatever.
No, that is a man-made
No, it's
fish.
not. It's
It is.
Fish-
It's
fish has
farmed.
gotten-
It's farmed. There
so
isn't a
is salmon.
Some salmon.
Some salmon, not all salmon.
Some salmon.
But
Tilapia,
tilapia-
tilapia is a man-made fish.
No,
yes,
it
it
is
is.
not.
You need to tell me about the pork chops that are not the only chops.
She
out
getting
here.
there.
Lamb chops, not pork chop.
Lamb chops.
I don't know. I feel like once black folks discover, listen, they don't eat pork. Let's just put it out there.
Yeah, they
A
don't.
lot of black people don't eat pork.
In Philly.
In Philly, but yeah. Let me just give a disclaimer out. Whenever I talk about people, I'm most likely talking about Philly people.
Here,
So, but I do want to say that a lot of people from Philly, they don't eat pork. You know what I mean? So when I was growing
Can
up,
we have some
my
more
friends
wine?
used to be like, I got turkey chops, I got chicken chops. I'm like, that's no such thing.
First of all, I had never seen a turkey chop or a chicken chop in
Me
my
neither.
life till I came to Philly, and I was like, "This is wild." But I'll cook it up on the grill.
Man-made.
But this is what I want to say. I want to say this. I want to say once people, specifically black people, once we started actually going out to these nice restaurants, once we actually started to learn more about food and different things like that, what we learned about was things like lamb chops. What we learned about was things like salmon. What we learned about was like these basic ass foods and like these basic ass we learned about these basic ass ingredients, these basic ass food, and we just took it and flew with it, which is like the only great thing on earth. Not all of us, but majority of us. And I think that comes from, I know for a fact, it comes from a lack of education. It comes from a lack of not knowing what's out there because your resources were different from people growing up, and your resources were different from the rest of the people in the world.
What we said off camera and off audio when we were talking about how grandmoms aren't in the kitchen anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, I was getting there.
Yeah.
When it comes to it comes to a lack of things like you talked about how your grandmother,
Grandmother, great-grandmother. I grew up with both of them. They were always in the kitchen. Every Sunday we ate at my grandmother's house.
and grandmoms are not cooking no more, so they don't know. Like I said before, when I was growing up, I didn't know that I was eating Southern food. I thought I was just eating food until I started, talking to Southern chefs, talking to people who cook Southern food, talking to you who are from the South. I thought my mom was just cooking. I didn't know it was specifically Southern food because.
I mean, I agree. When I was growing up, I knew I was in Mississippi, and my mom was country as all get out. But the thing was that it took me coming up here to college and getting homesick and being like, oh, what we do is something completely different, because nobody from like West Africa or Jamaica or whatever or Barbados goes, I want to come to America and go to Mississippi. Nobody does that. They want to go to like LA, New York.
Right.
They go to the big port cities, right?
Right.
So I didn't even understand the part of like the quilt of blackness that I was a part of, the diaspora.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Cheers, ladies. Come on.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers.
So I completely understand and can empathize, because it was just what it was delicious. It's just what we grew up eating. I didn't realize that what we ate there. That's why when I was in college and I went and I waddled my ass over to a soul food restaurant, and I was like, oh man, I'm about to get it. And then they always call it something that harkens back to the South, like a taste of home. I'm like, that's right, fellas.
Well, I have to say
going to a
this.
taste of
Let me
home.
just say this to you girls. You're not as old as me.
I mean, we
So-
know that.
Shady boot.
Shady. But I want to say to you that the flavors that I grew up with are hard to find unless you go down south. You're not going to find them in Philadelphia. You find, some collard greens and some oxtail and some.
What are those flavors though that you're talking about?
I don't know. It's like the foots, the feet, everything was in the pot.
But it's not a monolithic South, just like how I was saying, like diasporic food. Because in my family, we didn't make oxtails, right? Like that wasn't passed down, at least in my home.
No, I'm saying that's what you get here.
Right.
Yeah.
But don't down south they grow their own ingredients?
Oh
too?
yeah, we have a 9-month growing season. So
Not
like,
us.
like when my mom, like before we moved down south, because I was born in Philly. Before we moved down there, we'd go down there every summer. Because talk about somebody being homesick. Anyway, we'd go down there. I remember being on the porch.
But you were also talking about the three plate rule.
The meat and threes.
The meat and threes.
So you're gonna get your sweet, a meat, and 2 veggies.
And 2 veggies.
And there are these little platter places that I would love to do a tour. I've always wanted to do.
So, girls, I'm suggesting we do a road tour.
Like, shout out to my girl, Chef Enrica, like, because that could be our spirit guide, because she knows the best places where you just get, like, it's like a smorgasbord, and you get, like, stewed tomatoes.
So I want to know,
But I always tell
the
people
stuff you would never see on a soul food menu.
But I always do tell people. Me and one of my friends I used to work with. Me and him used to make this joke all the time. We used to be like, even in the South is different because you got Paula Deen food, but then you got Mabel's Baptist Church food.
First of all, let's talk about it now.
Let's not talk about Paula Deen, okay? Not wanting to talk about Paula Deen, but I do want to know.
All right, y'all. So we're gonna need some more butter.
Chef Naya,
all right.
Chef Naya, Chef Tony.
That was my best.
I do want to know.
I do want to know
how you feel about tonight's dinner.
I think it's exceptional. I really enjoy the steak.
You ain't even eating that.
Well, you haven't even touched your food. What's wrong with you?
I'm trying to be cute on camera.
Mommy, I think I got a little green on you.
And plus,
no, you don't have anything green.
I am a natural grazer. Okay, I leisurely eat.
Okay.
Plus, I love me a little nasty
graze
piece.
this. So I want to know from the both of you because like I'm out here, and my career is going to a different direction.
You're so stressed. What is it?
I'm stressed because
It's
I'm
insulting.
just sick of this shit.
What is it?
I'm sick of this. I mean, like, I have worked my ass off to be where I'm at.
Correct.
I really have.
You ain't the only one. I mean,
And
I don't got 40
I see
years,
these
but
fools coming up they're on the cover of this, the cover of that. They're James Beard, they're James that. And they cooking shit food. I don't get it. So is it just being black? I mean, look. I'm never going to be that black.
Well, we know
To
that.
anybody. I'm never going to be that
how
black.
much Hawaiian Tropic you put on.
Shut the fuck up. Okay?
That's a tan lotion for you. Y'all it
I
ain't
wouldn't.
peep
Why
game.
y'all telling them? See, as black folks, we need to gatekeep.
So I'm just
That's-
saying.
that's Hawaiian
I'm just
Tropic.
saying. Listen. I'll
We
give
gotta
you a
gatekeep our
perfect
jokes.
example of how I feel. One time when I was living in Los Angeles, and I was living very large, I got an audition for a movie, and the name of the movie was 48 Hours.
Oh shit.
Oh, I thought you was gonna say like Players Club
Or
something.
Boomerang.
Bitch, shut
Girl,
Players Club.
I was thinking Boomerang. You know what I mean?
I said 48 hours.
You was gonna cook the wings. In the-
So anyway, so I'm at this party, and it was Ashford Simpson. What's the name? Ashford.
Ashford and Simpson.
There you go. Anyway, I'm at their party. They did a concert, and I'm backstage, and there was an actress there who's on TV as we speak and she's been on this show for fucking ever, right? Black girl. And this is back in the 70s, right? I'm in LA. I'm at this show. And I'm saying to this actress, oh, I got an audition for 48 Hours. And she looked at me. She's like, who the fuck are you?
Oh shit.
And I was like, oh shit.
Cause bitch, you ain't no actress.
I was like,
you ain't worked for this.
I was like, oh shit. Here it comes.
This is where Angie realized she fucked up.
This is where I realized imposter syndrome comes in.
You swore you was bull. You swore you had a role. You was
like-
salty as shit.
I was like, shit. She was like,
She was salty as
She
shit.
was like, who the fuck are you? And then she went in to say, this is what pisses me the fuck off. When bitches like you come in when I've worked. No, this is how it relates to me now. Okay? Bitches like you come in, know somebody, get an audition, and I've been doing this shit for 25 years. So,
You think it was the ego thing or like an actual outward card bitch? And you
no,
don't deserve
she
it?
had a valid point.
Okay.
I didn't know how to act.
So now you
She's
can
been
empathize with her.
So I'm saying every time I think back, I think of her saying that to me because now I want to say that to these motherfuckers out here
But that's the
that
thing,
ain't
I think-
putting the time in.
I think they
that
need
I
somebody
have.
to say that to them. I think that they need somebody to say that to them.
Yeah, well, it ain't gonna be me.
Why? You talk about it.
You literally just said it.
Well,
to him.
they gonna hear it now.
But
Ain't gotta ever talk about it when you
But
are about it.
But I think it goes back to that
baby.
larger point, right? That everybody are always trying to bandwagon some shit. Like today it's chef, tomorrow it'll be something else, whatever. And there are people who, like you said, they can cook and barely, but they can't manage. They can't be
and
a
so-
chef.
and
the
so-
story.
and so
People are
wait.
buying the story. They're not buying the
Okay.
food.
Exactly.
They're not buying the title. They're buying the story.
Okay,
you
girls.
need a story.
So I want to ask you about how you feel, because I have worked in corporate America also, in corporate kitchens.
All I know is chef. Like,
So my question to you is, have you come across the male ego in the kitchen?
No, what is that?
I am
what you're
I
talking
am
about.
the male ego in the kitchen.
No, I've never seen a penis in the kitchen. It's weird.
What you want to put in pot? Making
What's
that
wrong
noise?
with you?
No, I'm just saying. I'm like, that's obvious. Yeah, of course.
No, but that's a thing.
I am the male ego in the kitchen.
No, it's a thing because
It's a real thing,
because
and I bust their ass.
we've been brought up into this male-dominated career.
But your experience with males in the kitchen is very different from
And
my
it's
experience with
absolutely
males in the
because
kitchen.
mine
'Cause I know
started
that-
in 1987.
But
Yeah.
also,
and I never had to deal with black men. I only dealt with white men. I never in my entire career was beside a woman in the kitchen. It was always guys. And the minute that I showed any kind of strength, any kind of knowledge, knocked down.
I remember
knocked me
some
down.
kid told me, I remember this white boy told me, we were on the line, and I was so much fucking better than him. Like, everything I did was better than him. Not even trying to stroke my ego. He turns to me, he says to me, you know why you'll never be a good chef?
Ugh.
And I was like, why? He was like, because you don't do coke. He was like, I do coke. That's why I'm great. I
Okay.
looked at before I could
Alright.
say, nigga, please. I
you
looked
caught
at him,
yourself.
and I just was like, you are fucking insane.
And the Coke did it to you.
I mean,
The
like,
chef looked at chef looked at him and said, somebody's paying.
I've never met a Coke chef that did anything right. Never met one that did anything right.
The chef who was in charge looked at him and said, why would you say that to her? Somebody's paying $94,000 for her tuition. He walked off the line.
exactly.
I said, that's why I don't play with people. After that day, I had to learn, like,
No.
Well-
I've been in so many situations outside of being a chef where I was the only woman and often
Only
the
woman of color.
only black woman. Mm-hmm. And most often the only woman.
I like that though. 'cause
And look, you
I
know what
love
it taught
being the
me?
only black woman, 'cause then I bring more black women.
Okay,
Let me-
stop shouting.
The most important thing it taught me from working with this white guy when I first graduated from Drexel doing my graphic design gig, and I was talking about how I wanted to take off for the weekend to get down to. He was like, "Oh, I don't ask to take off. Like I tell them, like so, like how you said." I became the male energy and like, and I don't know if this is a generational thing or whatever, but I just was like, yeah, fuck that. If they can do it, then I did it too. And I did it in my own way. I found a way to do it.
Well,
Angie said so. Now you can walk. Now you walk so I can run.
that's right. There have been times where I have gotten physically aggressive
Yeah, see, like, let me
with
tell
the
you,
chef.
that couldn't
I
be
have
now.
thrown hot towels in their faces and walked off the job.
That can't be now. Like, let me.
You know,
It
because
can't.
No, it can't because
they
ain't nobody
become
playing with me. Fuck outta here.
they become that aggressive.
Yeah.
No, I believe you. I totally
Don't play
believe
with it. Don't play with it. Don't play with it.
But I want to say to you, when I was Jessica sent me to New Orleans to talk to and learn from Leah Chase. And I spent the day with Leah Chase, and the chef thing came up, and I was working with her during the day, and I kept calling her chef. Finally, she turned around and she said, "Baby, don't call me chef. I'm a cook." And it humbled me so that I
bet you felt so comfortable in that moment.
oh my God, it was like 100 pounds was lifted off my shoulders because I no longer had to walk around feeling like an imposter. I mean, had I been educated, had I worked my ass off, yes. Had I been to France, had I worked with different chefs, yes. But I still didn't have that 2K on my head with 8,000 different pleats to tell me how many times and how many different ways I can make an egg. No. I did the work, but I still felt like I was a cook. And when she said, "Baby, don't call me a chef, I'm a cook," I said, "Yep, that's me. That's me. I don't have to be a chef. I'm a good cook. I'm good at it. And I like that.
I'm a chef.
I'm a chef. I'm a /chef/cook. I'm a chef.
I ain't slashing. I'm a chef.
And you know what? So be it. You are who you are. And I am who I am. And we are. Girls, let's raise our glasses.
Well, mine's empty.
It's okay. Let's raise it.
All right, there's a swallow.
Chef Tony, Chef
Naya.
Naya.
Chef Naya.
And we are bound by
Bye.
Fire.
See you next time.